Hey guys, what's up? Master Phoenix here, bringing you guys a very first, yet again another new segment. This will be called the Cardfight Vanguard Area Deck Archives. It's a playlist that I'm gonna have along with my other Cardfight Area playlists. So check it out if you want. I'm not gonna force you. I'm not gonna really promote it that often or at all, really, except for now. But yeah. So I just figured the best way to do this is the way anybody should really do it. They take their deck profiles and they just, they do it alphabetically. So whenever I make a deck, if I have deck ideas or I don't have any deck that interests me at the moment, what I do is I just go and search out subclans or archetypes on Cardfight Vanguard fandom or wiki, or whatever you want to call it, and I just go down the list alphabetically. Um, so if you look at the very, very, very first one, you'll see that the very first one is called Alfred, which is actually a tier 1 deck right now. So, I dare say God tier right next to Overlord the Purge. So, let's just go ahead and, build that. I'm sorry, let's not build it. Let's just go ahead and literally build, not build it from scratch. I'm getting my words mixed up. Let's just go ahead and show you the deck profile. There will be some that I build from scratch, just show you guys how I build mine from scratch, and there will be others where I just show you deck profiles. This will be one of those where I just build it from a pre-built version I already have made. So, each deck usually has a theme. This is based around Blaster Blade and new support. I don't use Wingull Youth, nor do I use Wingull Brave. I don't use the Wingull Brave starter, nor do I use Wingull Youth, because that's, what pretty much everybody uses, and my deck's different. So, first off, here we have one copy of Blue Squad Bartgull as our starter. Of course, it has Forerunner, which is standard nowadays on pretty much anything. As a rearguard, as an activated rearguard ability, meaning it can only be activated during the main phase. Generation Break 1, meaning if you have you need to have at least one G unit, either face up in your G zone or on your Vanguard circle. You counterblast 1 and put this unit into your soul, and search your deck for up to one card with Alfred or Blaster in its card name. Reveal it to your opponent, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. So it's just a basic searcher. I like to kind of break it down for people who aren't as experienced with the game. I mean, it really is just a basic search card, but I'll do my best. Alright, so I've already explained the Generation Break. I've already explained Forerunner. Forerunner is just kind of like Pioneer or Pilot or whatever it's called. What is it called? The other one is called Pioneer. There you go. Which is the precursor of Forerunner. Pioneer and Forerunner do literally the exact same thing. When a unit of the same clan rides it, you just move it back. You can just move it to rear guard. That's it. Generally, you're going to move it either to behind your Vanguard, or depending on what deck you're using, you'll use it behind. You're going to move it to the column to the right or left, to the left or right of your Vanguard. Not in the front row, because then it's vulnerable to attack and susceptible to being removed from the game. Not from the removed from game pile, but just being retired, which basically meaning sent to the drop gen, or I guess if you play Yu-Gi-Oh! The graveyard, because it's the same equivalent. Counterblast 1, you just take a card from your damage zone that's face up, flip it face down, and put it into your soul. Is pretty simple, you just put it into your soul. I mean, the only way it gets simpler than that is if you need me to explain what putting it into your soul is. You just take the card, slide it under your Vanguard circle. And that's that. Other than that, it's pretty simple. You just look at your deck, you pick up the wrong card with Alfred or Blaster in its card name. It doesn't matter where it is in the card name. If it's beginning, middle, end, doesn't matter. As long as it's in the card name, reveal it, add it to your opponent. Show it to your opponent, add it to your hand, shuffle. I mean, it's not that big of a concept. Moving on to the trigger lineup, we play 8 crit, 4 draw, 4 heal, like I usually like to. We're running 4 copies of Floral Paladin Flogel. Multiple reasons that we're running this card. I do want to first commentate, and this will be expressed in a later video about how triggers have evolved over the years. But Floral Paladin Flogel. It's a 4K critical trigger with an effect with 10,000 shield, which is pretty much standard nowadays for a trigger with an effect of 4K. Pretty much all triggers nowadays have 4K attack value, 10K shield, some sort of trigger icon, and they have an effect. If it's a critical trigger, it usually is counterblast and it takes the main subtype or archetype, a subclan or archetype of that particular clan. And Royal Paladin, that'd be Altmile and or Alfred, which we'll get to in a bit. And you just put it into Soul, draw one card, 5k power. But that's not what this card does. You counterblast one on rear guard, meaning you'd have to call it counterblast one at the end of the battle. Your unit named Blaster Blade. Now, the unit that this unit boosted, you don't have to have this unit boost Blaster Blade. Just as long as this is on the field and you have a counterblast to use up from your damage zone if it attacked the Vanguard. Pay the cost, and if you do, choose up to one unit named Blaster Blade on rear guard, stand it, and return this unit to your deck and shuffle it. Now, normally people are just like, well, why, Phoenix? Why waste your card like that? Shush, child. Let me explain why. First of all, it's an extra booster, and on Lou, who we'll get to in a little bit, it's actually well worth it, because it extensively becomes a 7k booster, but mainly all you want to focus on right now is the fact that it shuffles itself back in the deck, meaning you can recycle your critical trigger, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Meaning you can just go into it more often and drive check critical triggers more often and steal games. Next up for the other critical trigger, we're running 4 copies of Scion Rider. Automatically on rear guard, you put this unit into your soul. When your grade 3 Vanguard with Alfred's card name attacks, you may pay a cost, and if you do, countercharge 2. So it's just in case you're actually using the Alfred Vanguard. I usually use it for just Stride Fodder, since I'm not running the grade 1 Stride Fodder, which by that I just mean those grade 1s that say when paying the cost for Stride it gets +2 grade +2. Comes grade 3 having rewarded. So there's that. Dang, she's cute. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Counterblast is a very, 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 very key part of this deck. It's very vital. You want to be able to counterblast at any given moment, especially around the grade 2 part of the game. Not even mid-game. I'd say it's still technically early game by the time you're on grade 2. For Blaster Blade, for Lou, basically anybody really. Especially later on in the game, it's pretty much mandatory, because if you don't, you basically lose. On top of that, not only are both great triggers, and as you see, they both have the same stats. Only difference is their effect, but their effect triggers with effects that have 4k power and an effect around 5k with no effect like this. But other than that, it's also just for the fact that this one serves its own secondary purpose. A, because it's a critical trigger that you can get into that recycles itself. B, it helps with Lou making magic numbers, and this is a critical trigger that doesn't recycle itself, meaning you throw it into the deck and shuffle, and you get a chance at drawing it again. But this is, well, more favorably drive check it again. But the strength with this card is that if you have the Alfred Vanguard, not only do you countercharge 2, which is very good for the deck, but you put it in your soul, which is good for a stride, which we'll get into later, because you use the soul a decent bit. Which again, we'll get into a little bit. Also, since it's 8 crit, you'll get crit fairly often. That's also how I won my replay with the Amon versus Amon versus Overlord game. If you haven't checked that out, you'll see why 8 crit is so good if you watch it. I'm not telling you to watch it, I'm not trying to promote it, but really, there's a reason I run 8 crit in like every deck, at least, if not 12. Finally, I'm running 4 copies of Margol. This is a activated rear guard. Active on the rear guard circle, you move this unit into your soul. Choose one of your Royal Paladin units, any one of them. It can even be the Vanguard. God knows why you choose for it to be, but it could be. Against 3,000 power. Pretty simple. It moves into soul. Again, good trigger. It moves into soul. And yeah, that that's basically it. It's basically all there is to it. Moving on to round up the trigger lineup and as well as the grade 0 lineup, we have 4 copies of Maskgall. This card is kind of special because it's a heal trigger. I mean, it says it on the card, so I don't know what to tell you, but really, it doesn't get much simpler than this. You can only have 4 heals in a deck. It's that simple. I mean, it doesn't get much simpler than that. Other than that, that's really all there is to it. However, now the heal triggers nowadays, whenever they're sent to the grave, to the drop zone, in order to, Generation Guard, which again we'll get into a little bit later. You can discard a grade 1 or less card and discard it to get a special effect. It's usually a draw, like it is in this situation. But other than that, 1 second, my phone's going off. Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, and that's really all there is to it. A free card is a free card, so whatever. And plus Generation Guard, which is actually really good. It goes in your G zone, and it's the reason we went from having 8 to 16. We literally doubled our G zone. Anyway, it's amazing. Moving on to our grade 1 lineup, we have 3 copies of Enchantment Sage LeBron. This is one of my personal techs in the deck. A tech is just like a card that you kind of, not necessarily invented, but the card that you put into the deck kind of, that nobody else really plays, as your own special unique twist to it, you know. So, auto. So auto skills are skills that automatically trigger the second its conditions fulfilled. For example, this one, when this unit's placed on rear guard. So automatically when it's placed on rear guard, you rest this unit, meaning you just tap it sideways. And if you have a Vanguard with Alfred in its card name, it doesn't matter what grade it is, you may pay the cost, and if you do, choose up to 2 of your units, and they both gain 4,000 power until end of turn. You'll see this later that they actually get strength in numbers. Not only can it support next turn, but also it's very good at making your units beefier. Units is just the game's way of saying monsters if you're used to Yu-Gi-Oh, but whatever. Which is also why we're running this guy, who again we'll get to in just a bit. Now we're running 4 copies of Blaster Friend Barkall. Automatically on rearguard, when your unit named Blaster Blade is placed on Vanguard or rearguard circle in the same column as this unit. If you have a Vanguard with Blaster and it's the card name, countercharge 1. Countercharge 1 is just the newer way of saying you take a face down card in your damage and it's been used up and flip it face up. That's what it is. So if you're going second, you'd ride your grade 1. This is usually your grade 1 ride target. Although it's more ideal that you get this one as your grade 1 ride target, but whatever. They basically accomplish the same thing. It's just this one's slightly better and it comes out more often. Hence why I use it, because it's better. And I want it to come out more often, but you know, whatever. I mean, it's simple logic, guys and girls and whoever all. But yeah. So you'll ride this one, call this one, and then this swings, and then on your neck, and they both swing, whatever, it doesn't matter if it hits or not. On your next turn, you'll ride on a grade 2. Ideally, you'd have Blaster that we can retire basically anything, because it's a lot more useful on the Vanguard circle than the Rear Guard circle when it enters the battlefield. Either way, you get to retire something, it's just a lot less limited what you get to retire if it's on the Vanguard circle. Ideally, you'd move this back from the front row to the back row and then call another Blaster Blade. That way you can unflip one and then automatically after that counter flip it. You get the counter charge, meaning flip it face up, then just to automatically right after that flip it back face down to use it up for another retire, which is just an amazing use for it. Moving on to 4 of the amazing Perfect Guard. 4 copies of Divine Fountain Maiden Lien, and good lord is she divine. And I'm not even talking about the appearance, even though it's not too bad as it is. I mean, have you seen that sword? I mean, geez, anyway. It's Sentinel. You can only have up to 4 cards at Sentinel in a deck, in any given deck, because it's very powerful. Normally, you just you use it from hand. You set it from your hand to the Guardian Circle, discard 1 card, and it negates the attack. Then it moved, and again, I'll cover this in the evolution of Perfect Guards as well, up to Perfect Guard Gs. Well, there's Perfect Guards, Enhanced Perfect Guards, Perfect Guard Gs, and then now there's the archetype specific Perfect Guards. I know there's also Quintet Walls, but again, that's for another video. Soul Blast 1. So you take a card from your soul and put it into the drop zone. Again, hint hint, soul is important. When this unit is placed on Guardian Circle from your hand, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your grade 3 units with Alfred or Blaster in its card name that is being attacked, and that unit cannot be hit until the end of the battle. So not only can that protect your Vanguard or rear guard, but also that also means that rather than having to discard a card from hand to the drop zone, you get to just Soul Blast 1 instead, which is amazing. So yeah, I just wanted to get that long explanation out the way. I usually save Perfect Guards for last, but just so I could kind of get that out the way. Finally, 4 copies of Gigantic Short Putter for the final Grade 1. Activated on Rearguard Generation Book 1. This ability is active if you have 1 more face-up G units on your Vanguard or G zone. G units, you can tell because they have a distinctive red border around them. Counter Blast 1 to retire this unit upon calling it to the Rearguard Circle. Ship 2 your units, and those units get plus 5,000 power until the end of the turn. This combined with this makes an amazing combo for 9,000 to 2 units, and it's just insane. With him and his almighty Jawbreaker or whatever that is in his hand. But yeah, that rounds up the grade 1s. Moving on to the grade 2s. We only are running 8. We're only running 11 of them. We're running 3 copies of Swordsman and Light Armies because it's simply not as good. Automatic, we are on rearguard when this unit attacks. If you have a Vanguard Alfred in its card name, this unit gets power plus 2,000 until the end of that battle, meaning it goes from 9 to 11k, which is amazing. Which is just, again, like, that's amazing because I can hit anything. Because, again, I'll cover this in yet again another video, but grade 3s have evolved from just 10ks on everything. Some would even be as weak as 8 and 9ks on a grade 3, if you can believe that, to everything being 11ks, some even being 13ks, 15ks, etc. And this is I'm mainly taking a while my sweet time with this to explain it to a more casual audience who isn't fully developed and immersed into the game yet, who isn't very experienced, just so I can help them kind of scoot their way along. That way they have a fair chance to play, because I believe everybody should get their fair shot at playing the game competitively. I know it sounds like it's a rough kind of environment, but really, everybody here is nice. Well, not everybody, but most people here are nice, and the people who aren't, I mean, they'll just burn. They'll burn it. Anyway, I'm getting off track. Automatically on rearguard. Counter Blast 1. When this unit's attack hits a Vanguard, if you have a Vanguard Alfred in its name, you may pay that cost, and if you do, search your deck for up to 1 card of Blaster Blade in its card name, call to rearguard with this unit, shuffle your deck, and choose one of the units auto until a turn. Its cost becomes 0 until the next sum is paid. If the cost is 0, the cost is paid when declaring that you are paying for it. And it's that simple. So it's an amazing card. I just only can run 3 of it. I can only have 4 to run 3. Finally, running 4 copies of a Blaster Blade. Again, this is just pretty standard. Even the people who only watch really the anime should know what this card does by now. Counter Blast 2, and you retire something upon Vanguard or Rearguard Circle. That's about it. Finally, to round up the grade 2 lineup, we have 4 copies of Favorite Disciple Light and Darkness Lulu. The second L is actually silent. I just stuttered a half second there, and it sounded like I said Lulu, but it's really pronounced Lou. When this unit is boosted by a unit named Blaster, Friend Barkle. This card, guys. This card right here. Or, guys, this card right here. Just thought you should know. You're welcome. It gets an extra 3,000 power, which is why I said it makes it a 7k booster, extensively makes it a 7k booster. And automatically on rear guard, counterblast 1 and put this unit into your soul. That's very good, remember? Soul is important. At the end of the bout, this unit attacked the Vanguard. Attacked. It doesn't have to hit, as long as it attacked the Vanguard. You may pay the cost, and if you do, search your deck for up to 1 grade 2 card with Blast in its name. Call it to rear guard, shuffle your deck, and until the end of the turn, that unit gets plus 2,000 power. Cough, cough, cough. You want to search this guy. Psst, people, do you hear me? You want to search this guy. Just saying. Anyway, moving on to the grade 3s. We're only running 7. Running 3 of the Stride Fighter, King of Knights, Light Manifest, Alfred Oath. In my opinion, this card's garbage. This card's garbage. He serves 2 purposes, man. Ride target if I don't have Blaster Blade Exceed, and my god, I feel bad for you if you don't have Exceed. And Stride Fighter. That's its only purpose in life. Generation Break 2. During your turn, this unit gains plus 2,000 power for each of your rear guards, just like the original Alfred. And automatic Counterblast 1 and Soul Blast 1, and just a card from your hand and discard it. When this unit is placed in the Vanguard circle, if you have a card in your soul name, Swordsman of Light, or Blaster in its card name, this guy, or this guy. Psst, I'll be referencing those 2 a lot in this video. Just so you know. Now I've explained what the key cards are. Let me get back to this, please. You may pay a cost. If you do, search your deck for up to 2 cards, Swordsman of Light, or Blaster in its card name that have a different grade as each other. Call them to separate rear guards and shuffle your deck. Good skill, but it's still garbage. Considering all the hoops you'd have to jump through, when you could just do it this way. It's called calling them. It works. Psst, don't tell anybody. Finally, to round them off, we have 4 copies of Blaster Blade Exceed. Automatic Vanguard, Counterblast 1. When your G unit was Saver in its name Stride during your turn, if you may pay the cost. If you do, search your deck for up to 1 card with Blaster Blade in its card name. Reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. Psst. Again, guys, just in case you forgot somehow. It's this guy. Just so you know, you're welcome. And put it in your hand and shuffle your deck. That's simple. Honestly, I don't know how you didn't get past the name of the card. This also has Saver in its name, not just this guy. And also you can use it to call, to use it to counterblast, to get a retire. You could use it to use a stride for next turn, just whatever, really. And automatic counterblast 1 when this unit is placed in the Vanguard or rear guard circle. You may pay a cost if you choose one of your opponent's grade 1 or greater rear guards and retire it. It can't retire starters or other grade 0s, but who cares, because they'd probably be gone or not existent on the field by the time you get this guy out. I do like how it's on the Vanguard or rear guard circle, though. That's very good. And that's it for the main deck, guys, as well as the grade 3 lineup and the main deck, guys. Moving on to the extra deck. We have 4 copies of Divine Knight King, Alfred Holy Saver. Stride, if you don't know what Stride is, I would say look it up, but fine. Since it's my first deck profile for Cardfight Vanguard in a while, I'll explain it. You take a card or cards from your hand whose total grade equals 3 when both opponents' Vanguards are grade, when both players' Vanguards are grade 3, or if you're playing a tag card fight for some reason, somehow, some reason, some way, some shape, some form, same fashion, whatever. You're just gonna make sure everybody's Vanguard's grade 3. All players' Vanguard's grade 3. Counterblast, and then you discard any amount of cards from your hand as long as their total grades equal 3. Don't discard grade 0s, Riri. Activated Vanguard, once per turn. Generation Break 2. Counter Blast 1 and choose a face down card with the same name as this unit from your G zone and turn it face up. That's called Persona Flipping. And choose a card from your hand and discard it. If you have a Heart card, Alfred, or Blaster, Heart cards are just the units that were your Vanguard before you strode on top of it. Just so you know, and you don't count as part of the soul, so don't even try that. Choose one of your rear guards with Blaster Blade in its card name, and until the end of the turn, it gets plus 3,000 power, and this unit performs Trend Drive for its first battle during this turn. Haha! And nothing like 5 drive checks in one turn. That's pretty much your second and only after first stride. After your first stride, that's the only stride you go into. That's all. No, I'm kidding. There's a bit more. Next up, there's the first strike you go into, which is 4 copies of Holy Divine Knight Ganshot Peace Saber. Automatic Vanguard, and of course it has a stride effect, but everybody has that. It's a genius. When this unit attacks, if you have a Heart card, Alfred, or Blaster in its card name, that will come up a lot as well. Countercharge 1, and until end of the battle, this unit gets Drive plus 1, so Quad Drive. And if you have a face-up card in your G-Zone, this card goes critical. Yay! That beats Quad Drive with 2 critical. And continuous G-Zone during your turn if this card is face up. All your rear guards with Blaster Blade in its card name get continuous resist, meaning they can't be targeted by card effects. Which is awesome, because it can't be locked, or retired, or anything, really. Shh. Finally, to run up the main G units, we have 4 copies of Holy Dragon Myriad Soul Saver. Dragon. Automatic Vanguard. Soul Blast 3. When this unit attacks Vanguard, if you have a Heart card or Alfred or Blaster in its card name, again, that will come up a lot, guys. You may pay the cost if you choose up to 5 of your rear guards, and they all get plus 5,000 power until the end of the turn. Psst, Gurgur, rip off. Sorry. That was sorry. Wasn't in the script. I'm kidding. I don't read from the script because I'm not casual. Anyway, yeah, that's basically your finisher. And finally, 4 copies of Holy Beast Divine Maskell. This is the card that you get out once you discard your copy of Maskell. Automatic Generation Break 1. Choose a face down G Guardian from a G zone. Cuff off this card and turn it face up. When this card is placed on Guardian Circle, if you have a rear guard in your front row, you may pay a cost, and if you do, this card gets plus 10,000 shield until the end of the battle. So, if you want to see this in action, all I gotta do is check out the Cardfight Vanguard Area Adventures playlist, and or the Cardfight Vanguard Area Archives, replay archives, and you'll hopefully not be disappointed. Thank you guys so much for watching. I've been your host, Mr. Phoenix, signing out. See you guys next time. Have a good one.